I have a husky. He doesn't tear up the house or howl. Just as I was breathing a sigh of relief, a stream of pop-up comments flashed across my vision. LMAO, what kind of husky ignores the sofa and is obsessed with licking the main character's fingers instead? Out on the streets, they call me the Reaper. At my girl's place, please call me Max. A treatise on how the Wolf King pretends to be a dog to win over his crush. I looked down at my husky and tentatively held out my finger. He let out a little awoo and opened his gaping maw, and started licking my hand with a mix of excitement and pure adoration. I own a charcoal gray husky. His name is Max. He doesn't destroy furniture, he doesn't howl, and he doesn't have that look of mischievous intelligence in his eyes. He's just incredibly aloof. This personality made owning him a breeze, no blood pressure medication required. The only catch was his energy. I had to walk him for at least 2 hours every single day. But every time we went for a walk, something strange would happen. Wherever Max went, all the other pets in the complex would inexplicably drop to the ground, too scared to move. They'd whimper softly, their tails tucked firmly between their legs. The old guy from the next building, holding his little poodle that was shaking like a leaf, teased me. That other husky is over there playing in his own poop, but your Max has become the king of the neighborhood dogs. He's terrifying. How on earth did you train him? I glanced down at the husky leaning against my leg, lazily licking his paw. He even had a pink bow clipped to the fur on his head. He looked aloof, with a hint of adorable, world-weary resignation. How is that terrifying? I didn't train him. Maybe it's because he only eats raw meat instead of kibble. The old man sighed dramatically. He went on and on about how I shouldn't spoil my dog so much. I mumbled a few replies and led Max toward a less crowded area. The moment we left, the trembling dogs behind us scrambled to their feet and ran off. Max heard the commotion, turned his head, and narrowed his eyes slightly. He let out a short, disdainful snort. Max, were you bullying the other dogs? I patted his head. Max just nuzzled my hand, looking completely innocent. Suddenly, his expression sharpened. He stared warily at the bushes nearby. As I followed his gaze, a large dog shot out of the shrubbery. The dog seemed agitated, baring its teeth and letting out a continuous, low growl. Growling. Ruff. Max watched it without moving, but a deep growl rumbled in his own throat. It sounded like a warning. He must have thought it would scare the other dog away. But the big dog suddenly went berserk, lunging straight for me with its teeth bared. Oh crap, a rabid dog. I stumbled back a step in fear. I reflexively tried to pull Max away with me. Everyone knows that a husky's fighting ability is a total mystery. They've never won a fight, but they've never lost an argument. Although Max wasn't the argumentative type. But in the next second, Max tilted his head, expertly slipped out of his leash, and shot forward with a whoosh. I stood there, staring at the empty leash in my hand, completely dumbfounded. Wait a minute. Am I walking him, or is he walking me? By the time I snapped out of it, Max had already clamped his jaws precisely around the big dog's neck. His canines were sharp, gleaming with a cold, terrifying light. I gasped. Max, don't bite. What if this dog has an owner? If he bites it, I'll have to pay. If he gets bitten, we'll have to go to the vet. Hearing my voice, Max released his grip. He let out a short bark. It wasn't a happy yip, but a deep, low sound. Click. The big dog looked as if it had seen a ghost. It scrambled to its feet, trembled, and bolted back into the bushes. After calling property management to report the potentially dangerous dog, I quickly bent down to check on Max. Good boy, Max. Are you hurt? Where does it hurt? Did that dog scratch you? I was wearing a dress with a rather low neckline today. When I bent over, my cleavage was suddenly on full display. Max didn't make a sound. He just stared, mesmerized, at the prominent curves of my body, his golden eyes wide and unblinking. I thought I heard the faint sound of someone gulping. Thinking he was just scared, I grew even more anxious. I squatted down and pulled him into my arms to comfort him. It's okay, it's okay. Mama's got you. Pressed against my soft chest, Max took a deep breath. This time, his eyes weren't just wide, they were glazed over. He began to nuzzle restlessly against my chest, repeatedly trying to lick my neck and collarbone. Great. I'm covered in dog slobber. Well, at least he's okay. I'll just have to take another shower when I get home. I sighed in resignation but let him continue. What could I do? He was so well behaved, protective, and obedient. The way he charged out to protect me just now was just too cool. Just as I was congratulating myself on getting such a prize husky, a few strange lines of text suddenly flashed before my eyes. LMAO, the main character is so naive. What kind of husky ignores the sofa and is obsessed with cuddling the MC? On the street, I'm a beast. At my girl's place, just call me Max. A treatise on how the Wolf King pretends to be a dog to win over his crush. This top-tier obsessive behavior is almost too cringy to watch. Is this really the same alpha wolf who terrifies every pet just by walking past them? Is this the same Wolf King who could snap a human's arm with one bite? A wolf? My hand trembling, I lowered my head and held out my finger as a test. Max, who was busy nuzzling my chest, paused, then let out a little awoo and opened his gaping jaws, and licked my hand with a mix of excitement and pure adoration. Well, what can I say? That's just how a normal puppy shows affection to its owner, by licking their hand. Saying my Max is a wolf. I don't believe it. If he were really a wolf, he would have bitten my hand off, chewed it up, and swallowed it by now. He wouldn't be acting like this. I ignored the strange messages and playfully messed with his tongue. Max, why are you so clingy today? Slurp. The husky didn't respond, just kept sucking on my fingers. My hand was practically pickled in his drool. I sighed and pulled my hand away, gently tapping him on the snout. No more licking. You know, it's strange. Someone just told me you're a wolf. A wolf king, even. The dog's head in my lap went rigid, and his ears flattened back slightly. He pulled away from my embrace. Woof. He let out two soft whines, avoiding my gaze, his eyes darting around. I didn't notice anything unusual and continued with a smile. I actually doubted it for a second. But looking at you now, you're just a big dumb dog. Come on, give me a bark. The bizarre pop-up comments exploded with laughter. Has the MC not noticed that the male lead hasn't barked even once since she bought him? LMAO, how could the Wolf King possibly learn to bark? He'd probably want to bite himself to death afterward. It's beneath his dignity. Wolf or husky, side by side they walk. The one who barks is just a dog. Does anyone have that meme of the wolf and the husky with the same expression? You don't have a boyfriend, and you don't have the meme either? Wow, way to call me out. Seeing the comments, I hesitated again. Max, bark for me. Or are you really not a dog? Max pawed at the floor, and after a few seconds, he squeezed out a single, incredibly reluctant word from the back of his throat. Woof. After barking, he flopped onto his back, belly up, and even wagged his tail. He was normally so aloof and composed, and highly obedient, so his tail was almost always hanging down. He was just too cool for school. So, seeing him perform this whole submissive, playful routine made my heart melt instantly. Even if it did look a little unnatural and stiff. That's a good boy. Max, come let mommy pet you. I reached out and started smothering his head with pets. Just then, an old man walking by flinched. Sarah, my dear, why does your dog look so scary? It looks like he's snarling. Did he catch rabies from that stray he fought? What? I looked down, but all I saw was a husky with clear eyes, panting with his tongue out. You must have seen it wrong. He's not snarling at me. The old man scratched his head. Did I really see it wrong? Huh, don't worry. He's not like other huskies. He's very well behaved. The old man looked at Max, then at the poodle in his arms that was trying to curl into a ball. He looked even more confused. The strange comments flashed by again. The male lead's acting deserves an Oscar. LMAO, he was snarling because he wanted to kill himself from the embarrassment. Looks like the MC still doesn't believe the ML is a wolf king. Of course not. The ML is so adaptable. He usually looks down on all other canines, but now he's barking, wagging his tail, and panting just because he's afraid of scaring the MC. Tonight's a full moon. The male lead is going into heat. No matter how well he acts, he's going to turn into a werewolf. A dark night, a werewolf in heat, a sleeping main character, he he he. A wave of lewd laughter filled the strange pop-up comments. That night, after my shower, I lay in bed ready to sleep. But thanks to those daytime comments, I couldn't fall asleep. I just stared blankly at Max. He was curled up in a ball, sleeping peacefully beside my bed. His fur was soft and beautifully colored. I observed him closely. I noticed that Max's muzzle was indeed a bit longer and pointier than a typical husky's. That was a classic feature distinguishing a wolf from a dog. But the pet store owner, a guy who looked as intimidating as a bear, had sworn up and down that Max was a show-quality husky. Top-tier bloodline, a whole family of champions. So, of course he'd be better looking and a little different from a regular husky. In any case, he was lying there quietly, not looking at all like he was about to go into heat and transform. He was just a good dog. Wolf King, werewolf. Nonsense. This wasn't some fantasy novel. I chuckled and tapped my own head. I've been working too hard lately. I must be hallucinating. I'll go see a therapist tomorrow and get some medication. I pulled the covers up and slowly drifted off to sleep. The full moon rose in the sky. In a hazy state, I vaguely heard Max get up from beside the bed, a little agitated. The soft pads of his paws made little pattering sounds as he walked. Then I heard the sound of drinking from the living room. The wet sound of licking fur. And what sounded like rapid panting. Basically, just a lot of rustling and bustling. I rolled over, not paying it much mind. Any dog owner gets used to these noises. Once he was done with his little routine and let out a contented sigh, he'd go back to sleep. I don't know how much time passed, but I vaguely heard Max return to the bedroom. His footsteps were surprisingly light, maybe because he was afraid of waking me. It almost sounded like a person walking. Suddenly, I felt a breath on my fingers, which were dangling over the side of the bed. It was wet, hot, and accompanied by the restrained panting of a wild animal. It was incredibly distinct in the darkness. I was about to tell my husky to behave, but the next second, I felt my fingers being licked by someone. You bad dog. I was about to pull my hand back to smack his head, but then I realized something was wrong. Wait. The tongue length is wrong. A dog's tongue is long. But the tongue licking my fingers right now was the length of a human's. In the darkness, a flurry of screaming, excited comments flashed before my eyes. Whoa. The male lead finally turned into a werewolf. Yes, I've been waiting for this part of the story. Look at that chiseled 8-pack and lean, athletic waist. Damn. But for the love of God, can you stop pixelating his lower half? What's the big deal? If you have to, just put him in split crotch pants. Split crotch pants, nice. You guys are the kings of memes, lol. Oh, the way he's licking her fingers is so hot. I can't even imagine if he were licking other places. Be bolder. I can imagine it. As long as the MC doesn't wake up tonight, the ML and Heat will totally go for it. I'm upgrading to Premium VIP. I'm upgrading. I'm begging you, don't censor it. I swallowed hard, my eyes trembling as I opened them just a crack. By the light of the full moon outside my window, I saw a tall figure squatting by my bed. Broad shoulders, thick chest. No. Not entirely a human figure. Because on top of his head were two furry, pointed wolf ears, and his downcast eyes glowed with a faint green light in the darkness. All my sleepiness vanished in a wave of pure terror. I didn't dare move a muscle. Max, or whatever he was, thought I was still asleep and continued to lick my hand. His deep voice was like a mint-flavored candy. Clear and sticky. Honey, honey. Honey, I want to bite you. Honey, your hands smell so good. Next time you slap me, please do it harder. I don't mind the pain, as long as I can press against your chest again. The comments were filled with teasing oaths. The first thing he notices isn't the slap, but the scent on her hand, huh? MC, look what you've done to the Wolf King. You've turned him into a husky. LMAO, a goddamn husky. After licking my fingers to his heart's content, he stood up and brought his face close to mine. As he got closer, still pretending to be asleep with my eyes squinted, finally got a clear look at his face. Handsome. Silver hair, golden eyes, and sharp, beautiful features that carried a powerful, natural wildness. Faced with that kind of bestial aura, no human could avoid being scared. I trembled uncontrollably. No wonder the neighborhood pets were terrified of him. Thinking I was cold, he quickly climbed onto the bed and wrapped his arms around me, holding me like a small toy. A big, fluffy tail coiled around my leg. And, well, he was also impressively proportioned. Are you cold? Let me warm you up. Sigh, when are you going to stop calling me Max, honey? A stupid pet name like that doesn't suit me at all. My real name is Cole. Not even my pack knows that name. I'm only telling you. Are you touched, honey? Touched? Dude, do I look like I can move? I can't move at all. I lay there frozen, my mind numb with tension. Even with my generally clueless nature, I now knew that the creature lying next to me wasn't a quiet husky. It was an aggressive wolf. A real beast. A man-eating beast. The werewolf, formerly known as Max, real name Cole, quickly grew restless again. He rubbed his face against mine. His breath was scorching hot. He started licking my face. His tongue wasn't rough with barbs like a cat's, it was smooth and wet. He licked my face until it was covered in saliva. The comments teased. Wow, even licking her face is so hot. Seriously though, the MC is such a deep sleeper. She hasn't woken up after all this. The water torture scene never gets old. I didn't dare get angry, didn't dare speak. I was just terrified. Just as I felt I was about to be licked into a slobbery mess, Cole finally retracted his tongue. Thinking he was finally done, I was about to breathe a sigh of relief when I vaguely sensed his gaze fall upon my mouth. Honey, I still feel restless. I want to bite you. Can I? You damn dog, Max. You're asking for permission before you eat me? No. But the next second, Cole was already leaning in, his face right in front of mine. I thought he would impatiently open his massive jaws and bite my mouth off, but instead, he started by nibbling on my chin. Then he extended his sharp teeth and gnawed gently, like a puppy. It didn't hurt. In fact, it was kind of ticklish, like he was flirting. I was suspicious. Do wolves have to flirt before they eat someone? Then, the nibbling sensation gradually moved up from my chin. The tickling feeling grew more intense. I couldn't take it anymore. I let out a soft mumble, pretending to be woken up by the disturbance. Cole was startled. He immediately shot off the bed and back to the floor. When I made a show of opening my eyes, I saw a husky, no, a wolf named Cole, squatting there, panting with his tongue out. Before, I would have reached out to pet his head and cuddle with him. Now, I was a little scared. I quietly got up, preparing to slip away. The moment I stood up, the wolf pressed against me. Even though his golden eyes had turned scarlet due to his heat, he just flattened his ears and humbly begged for pets. The comments sighed. How is the male lead managing to restrain himself during a full moon heat? A wolf who can become a wolf king isn't just any ordinary wolf. His willpower is one thing, but the main reason is that he likes the MC, respects her, and is afraid of scaring her. This is the MC reaping what she sowed. Her kindness made the ML fall for her and disguise himself as a dog to get close. Reaping what I sowed? He likes me? So he won't eat me? I paused, looking down in disbelief at this wolf-like creature. He stopped too, looking up at me with adoration. His wolf head was so fluffy. I pondered. Did this wolf king named Cole and I have some kind of history? The strange comments didn't say, they just kept making things dirty. Everything was a lewd joke. I racked my brain but could only remember meeting Cole for the first time at the pet store. He approached me on his own. He was already 2 years old at the time, and quite large. Even though he was a show-quality husky, I was worried he'd be too old to bond with, so I was thinking of getting a German Shepherd instead. But the intimidating-looking owner generously offered to sell him to me for 90% off. Who wouldn't jump at a deal like that? So, being short on cash after recently changing jobs, I bought him. I've had him for less than half a year now, and we've gotten along great. He's never even snarled at me. I thought, Cole probably wouldn't hurt me, right? So after washing the slobber off my face in the bathroom, I got back into bed. The wolf obediently lay down by the bed again. I could faintly hear the sound of restrained, pained panting coming from his throat. After a moment's thought, I stuck my hand out from under the covers and rested it on the edge of the bed. Then I closed my eyes and went to sleep. If he wants to lick, let him lick. After my breathing steadied, Max must have thought I was asleep, because he began to lick my hand greedily but carefully. Halfway through, he suddenly transformed into a werewolf. Still handsome, still tall. With smooth, muscular lines. It's just, he still wasn't wearing any clothes. He must be, like, 20. His age, I mean. Don't get any ideas. My ears burned, and I silently kept my eyes closed. I felt Cole gently wiping the saliva from my hand with a wet wipe. I breathed a sigh of relief, ready to sleep peacefully. Suddenly, my vision went dark as someone lightly bit both my upper and lower lips. My heart leaped. Was Cole really going to eat me after all? But then. I finally kissed you. Your lips are so soft and smell so good. Oh woo. Don't howl. Control it. Can't howl. Don't want to scare honey. After biting me, Cole lay by my bed, both excited and shy, his eyes fixed on me with a burning gaze. He looked less like a wolf king and more like a teenager with his first crush. The desire in his eyes was about to overflow. Fun fact, wolves show affection by lightly biting their partner's lips or holding their head in their mouth. It doesn't mean they want to eat them. Got it. So if you love someone, you give them a big ol' bite. ML, oh whoa, I wanna give my honey a big ol' kiss. So it wasn't a bite, it was a kiss. My fear and panic gradually subsided. Sigh. What a mess. The next morning, I decided to interact with the Wolf King Cole as usual. But maybe because I slept poorly from all the stress last night, I woke up late. Cole was standing anxiously by the front door. He needed to go out and do his business. I sighed and pointed to the long-neglected indoor potty on the balcony. Max, can you just go there for now? I haven't even washed up yet. It'll be a little while. Oh whoa. Cole's wolfish face seemed to crack a little. He paced anxiously by the door, absolutely refusing to use the potty on the balcony. That's weird. Whether he's a wolf or a dog, Cole is still a canine. Why won't he use the dog potty? Why does he insist on going outside? And not only that, he insists on using the public restroom. Oh. That's right. The public restroom. The men's public restroom. Every time I walk him, I have to wait outside the men's room for him. Does the Wolf King have such high standards even for a bathroom break? I scratched my head, then wiped my face, preparing to coax him into taking care of business at home. I didn't want him to hold it in. Just then, the comments burst out laughing. You want the male lead to use the bathroom in front of his crush? Does he have no shame? LMAO, and then the MC would have to clean it up. Even more mortifying. Cole is terrified of ruining his pristine image in his honey's mind. I felt a little embarrassed and fidgeted with my hands. So I was the one causing the problem. I quietly sped up my morning routine. Skipping my skincare, I hurriedly took him to the public restroom outside the complex. Cole shot into the restroom like a rocket, comfortably relieved himself, and then strolled out. He then took a detour through the nearby flower bed. After replacing the bathroom smell with the scent of flowers, he came back and leaned against my leg. He began his subtle campaign of clinginess. I found a bench in the community garden. Max, come closer. Let me take a look at you. He lit up, immediately trying to nuzzle against my chest. Sigh. What a big, bad wolf. Prying him off my chest, I held his wolfish head in my hands and examined it carefully in the 11 o'clock sun. He really did look like a husky. But not entirely. His jawline was sharp and defined. The soft fur on his forehead fluttered in the breeze. And every now and then, his tongue would dart out to lick my hand. He must have been comfortable being held like that, because his golden eyes were slightly narrowed. His eyes really were beautiful. Wait a minute. Golden eyes. I feel like I've seen them somewhere before. But I couldn't remember where. I gently shook the wolf head in my hands and asked softly, Max, before I brought you home from the pet store, had we met before? Cole's wolf body shuddered. He wagged his tail excitedly. Awoo. Awoo. Seeing his reaction, I knew I had guessed correctly. Just then, a comment flashed by. No way the MC figured out who the ML is this early, right? Nah, it'll be a while. She just has a vague impression right now. Sigh, the ML's path to winning his wife is so long. When can they finally have a steamy, passionate night of heat? Just wait until the MC remembers the little puppy she saved in the village 2 years ago. This damsel rescuing the hero plot is a bit cliché, but I love it. Reading these comments, I fell silent for a moment. The memories slowly came back to me. 2 years ago, I lost my job and had to move back to my village. One day, my dad and I went to the back mountain to dig for bamboo shoots. The mountain bordered a dense, lush forest. Halfway through digging, I heard the faint sound of a whimpering puppy. A pathetic little awoo. My heart went out to it, and I followed the sound. I finally found a newborn puppy in a small pit. It never even crossed my mind that it could be a wolf. In this day and age, wolves had long since retreated deep into the mountains due to human expansion. Even my dad hadn't seen a wolf in decades. He thought it was a puppy from one of the village families that had gotten lost and fallen into the pit. Thinking we could use a dog to guard the house, we brought the weak little pup home. We named him Lucky. There were no vets in the village. But under my family's care, Lucky miraculously pulled through. I would always hold him in my arms while I helped my mom shuck corn. The little pup wouldn't make a sound, just lie on my lap and stare at me, or gently nibble my fingers, begging for pets. Occasionally, he would run to the edge of the village forest and bring me back a few small flowers. He was adorable. And Lucky's eyes were golden. Clear, pure, and unique. About a week or two later, wolf howls suddenly echoed from the mountains surrounding the village. The villagers were terrified, locking their doors and windows at night, afraid the pack would enter the village. But the pack never came. And after the terrifying howl subsided, I discovered that the little puppy was gone. My parents and I searched everywhere, but we couldn't find him. My dad said sadly, Lucky probably wandered into the forest and was eaten by wolves. I was heartbroken for a long time. Eventually, I returned to the city for work and rented a new apartment. But during that time, I felt like someone was following me. A creepy, leering gaze. I realized it was someone I had crossed before who had found me, so I decided to get a dog for protection. After I got Max, the creepy feeling disappeared for a while. I was so relieved. The one thing I never expected was that the husky I bought was actually Lucky, the wolf in dog's clothing. The male lead had just failed to transform properly and was temporarily stuck in his cub form. After his pack found him, he quickly reclaimed his position as Wolf King. But when he happily came down the mountain, he found the MC was gone. So he immediately snuck into the city to find his wife. Max. Lucky. My family's naming conventions had led to this strange twist of fate. So Cole had transformed into Max to repay a debt of kindness. It really was a case of reaping what you sow. I looked down and kissed Cole on the nose. The last bit of fear and unease vanished. The wolf didn't know why I suddenly kissed him, but he was ecstatic. He desperately tried to touch his mouth to mine. But I pushed him away with a gentle pat. The comments were amused. No matter how gentle the MC is, she can't bring herself to kiss an animal that's actually a wolf, even if it looks like a dog. Exactly. Otherwise, it would look like I have some kind of weird fetish. I ruffled the fur on his head. Let's go home. Cole wagged his tail and trotted happily beside me all the way home. From that day on, I continued to raise this Wolf King who was pretending to be a dog. If he didn't want to reveal his identity to me, then I would pretend not to know. But I secretly installed a set of security cameras at home. During the day, while I was at work, I would watch Cole in his human form, walking around the house naked. He'd touch my pillow, my slippers. His lovesick obsession was so intense that even the commenters couldn't bear to watch. This is just pure pervert behavior. I second that. At night, when I was asleep in bed, he would lick my hands or lightly bite my lips. Then he'd happily hold me while he slept. And just seconds before I'd wake up from the slight pain, he'd hastily transform back into his animal form and lie on the floor. The next morning, I'd look at the new and old bite marks on my lips, then turn and slap the damn wolf who was squatting beside me, staring. He'd be confused by the slap. Then, with his ears flattened, he'd lean in for another one. The comments, acting as his mouthpiece, howled with laughter. Our ML just got his fix again. A born masochist. I stifled a laugh and sighed. I decided to tease him. Max, I think I might have some terminal illness. My lips are always chapped and broken. It hurts so much. But don't worry, if I die, I'll make sure to leave you with a kind family. Cole's eyes darted away. That night, he didn't bite my lips. I was getting ready for a peaceful night's sleep, but Cole quietly transformed into his human form. He held me and said plaintively, "Honey, you don't have a terminal illness." "I'm sorry, I scared you. I won't bite you anymore. From now on, I've decided to kiss you." And with that, his lips pressed against mine in a frantic rush. It was a greedy, overwhelming kiss. The sounds of kissing were incessant. "It's so much better to kiss you in human form, awoo." In the darkness, my face, still pretending to be asleep, flushed red. I have to say, kissing him in his animal form was a bit weird. But kissing the werewolf Cole in his human form was actually pretty great. I let out a soft mumble, parted my lips slightly, and allowed his tongue to slip inside. "Wait, I paid for a premium membership, and you're just gonna give me 6 dots? Author, if you can't write it here, find another platform, please." Just as I thought Cole and I would live happily ever after like this, my former boss, Landon, cornered me at the entrance to my apartment complex. "Sarah, after you quit, I almost couldn't find you. Why'd you move to a different city?" I had just bought a big soup bone for the horny wolf at home and was in a pretty good mood. The moment I saw Landon, my face fell. I kept walking. Landon blocked me again, this time grabbing my arm. He was in his 30s, with a refined, handsome face. His family was wealthy, and he was well connected. But I knew what kind of slimy malice was hidden beneath that facade. "In such a hurry to leave?" Got something important to do? Landon was my former supervisor. 2 years ago, I quit because of his constant sexual harassment. After that, he would periodically show up at my apartment or follow me. I had called the police before, but there was no concrete evidence. I had no choice but to wait until he was on a business trip, move out of my apartment, and hide out in the countryside for 6 months. Get out of my way, or I'm calling the police. Sarah, why are you still so stubborn? You need to learn to be more flexible. Even though you ran off to this city, we're still in the same circle. I can still help you out. He was threatening me. I met his gaze coldly. Landon stared openly at my fair face. Disgusting. Sarah, I've started a new company. I need a personal assistant to take care of me. How about this? If you dump your boyfriend and come with me, you can name your salary. I won't even hold a grudge about your boyfriend beating me up so badly I ended up in the hospital. How about it? Boyfriend? What boyfriend? Who beat him up? I was confused, but I didn't correct him. Not interested. I tried to pull my arm away. Landon held on tight, trying to drag me toward his car. The difference in strength between a man and a woman was too great. I frantically called out to passers-by and neighbors for help. But Landon just smiled and announced, "Sorry everyone, my girlfriend and I are just having a little fight." The passers-by believed him. I'm not his girlfriend. He's harassing me. Sarah, darling, after all these years together, how can you slander me like this? Landon put his arm around me, his smile terrifying. The onlookers just watched the show. One of my neighbors even told me to give my boyfriend a break. They completely ignored my explanations. I had no way to defend myself. The comments were seething. This villain is so disgusting. He made the MC quit her job, and now he's trying to use his family's money to bully her. This whole social attitude is disgusting. It's just a lover's quarrel can be used to excuse any kind of violence. This is how kidnappings happen too. All you girls out there, please protect yourselves. Just as I stood there, helpless, a deafening wolf howl ripped through the air. Everyone's heart lurched in fear. It was the primal fear and reverence humans have for a predator at the top of the food chain. Before I could react, Cole shot out and sank his teeth into Landon's arm. His canines dug in deep. Ah! Landon cried out in pain and let go of me instinctively. Cole then lunged with lightning speed toward his neck. One bite there, and Landon would be dead. That was murder. Max. No. I quickly stopped him. Cole snarled and retreated to stand in front of me. The lines on his muzzle were tense, the usually soft fur on his back was standing on end, and his lips were pulled back to reveal his sharp teeth. Landon clutched his bleeding arm, his face pale with terror. What is that thing? I stood in front of the wolf. This is my show-quality husky. He's very protective and a strong fighter. I got him specifically to protect me from trash like you. You'd better go get a rabies shot. You might not live otherwise. Landon's attention finally shifted back to me. His face was white. Fine, Sarah. You just wait. This isn't over. Landon scrambled into his car and sped off. Cole then turned and snarled at the crowd of onlookers and neighbors. The onlookers, afraid of being bitten, quickly dispersed. One of the neighbors lectured me. Sarah, my dear, why is your dog biting people? What if he bites someone in the complex one day? He's too dangerous. You need to get rid of him. He must have rabies. I stroked Max's head and said coldly, he's not rabid. He only bites jerks who deserve it. The comments echoed my sentiment. When the MC was about to be dragged away by a creep, you didn't say it was dangerous. But now you're saying the loyal ML who protected her is dangerous. So disgusting. After getting Cole back home, I finally started to tremble with fear. Tears streamed down my face. The wolf came up to me and frantically licked away my tears. He whimpered softly, "Oh woo. It's okay. You bit him. He won't dare to come near me for a while. But you can't run around lately. I'm afraid." I paused. "I'm afraid he'll catch you and say you're a rabid dog." What I was really afraid of was Cole's identity as a wolf being exposed. If a terrifying predator like him appeared in a human city and bit someone, he would definitely be dealt with by the authorities. Cole nuzzled me with his muzzle. A dark light flashed in his golden eyes. That night, I woke up with a start to find the wolf tiptoeing into the bedroom. It seemed he had snuck out while I wasn't paying attention. Seeing that I was awake, he came over to beg for pets. His eyes were obedient. He didn't let me see the ferocity within them. A wolf knows how to repay kindness, but it knows even better how to repay a grudge. Just as I was planning to quit my job and take Cole back to the village to hide out again, I received some unexpected news a few days later. Landon had been attacked by wolves. An old colleague told me over the phone, gloating, "He was driving on a mountain road to find your parents, trying to use them to get to you, but he ran into a pack of wolves. And then, they bit him." I was shocked. A pack of wolves? Yeah, probably a wild pack from the mountains. Dozens of them. Can you imagine how terrifying? They bit him so bad he's a eunuch now. After they were done, the pack ran back into the mountains and disappeared. A eunuch? Yeah, he's ruined. His family rushed him out of the country yesterday. I heard there's some treatment overseas that might help him get his mojo back. But he probably won't have time to bother you for a few years. I hung up the phone in a daze. Bitten by wolves? It couldn't be. The comments immediately revealed the answer. It was him, it's our boy. The handsome wolf King Cole. Ah, I love this kind of protective plotline. It's so sweet I could die. The MC doesn't know yet, but when the villain Landon was stalking her, Cole appeared in his human form and beat him up. That's why he backed off for a while. Later, he was worried the scumbag would retaliate against the MC, so he pretended to be a dog to stay by her side. Wait, was the pet store owner a wolf too? Nope, a black bear. Holy crap. No wonder the pet store owner was built like a mountain. I smiled faintly. So the boyfriend Landon was talking about was Cole. He had been secretly protecting me all along. I kind of missed my wolf. I opened my phone and pulled up the live feed from the security cameras. Cole had just woken up and was lazily patrolling the house. His tail hung low, swaying back and forth. He saw that the drawer where I keep my underwear was unlocked, and his eyes lit up. He dug out a pair of my lacy panties, then transformed into his human form and draped them over his face. His expression was one of pure bliss, his eyes glazed over. When he was done playing, he went to the bathroom, washed them for me, and hung them up to dry. And then, he pulled out a pair of floral panties. This time, he didn't put them on his face. Instead, let's just say his actions were so indecent they would need a thick layer of pixelation. My face turned shades of green and red. You damn wolf. No wonder my underwear always feels a little damp when I put it on. The comments were dying of laughter. The male lead might be drop dead gorgeous, but this behavior is beyond creepy. MC, my underwear is tainted. The ML's image as the potty prince who held it in for half a year has been completely shattered. Hey. Wait a minute, the MC saw the ML playing with her underwear and she's not even surprised, just embarrassed. Could it be that the MC has known all along? Oh crap, he's done for. A moment of silence for our male lead. I'll contribute a small whip. Whip him. Why did this get kinky all of a sudden? I lowered my eyes and opened the live video call function on the camera app. I said in a low, ghostly voice, "Cole, stop playing with my underwear. Put it back, or I'll break your wolfy head." Cole, who was in the middle of ravaging my panties, froze. He looked up at the camera, its red light blinking in the flower vase. He was busted. That night, at my place. I sat on the sofa, expressionless, while he squatted on the floor in his human form, confessing everything. His two-pointed wolf ears drooped, his tail was still, and he was wearing the pants I had bought for him when I stormed back home. His golden eyes peeked at me cautiously. "Honey, I've told you everything. Please don't be mad." "I'm not mad." "Really? Really?" Cole let out in a whoa and launched himself into my arms. But in his human form, he was a muscular man nearly 6'3", and the impact nearly broke my ribs. "Oof." I cried out in pain. Cole panicked and immediately reached out to rub my chest. But with me being awake and aware, he hesitated. I sighed. "Go ahead. It's not like you haven't nuzzled it 1,000 times when you were a dog." Cole's Adam's apple bobbed. He raised his hand and began to gently rub the spot where he'd hit me. The tips of his ears were bright red. I wasn't doing much better. Ahem. I cleared my throat. "Cole, the fact that you can turn from a wolf into a person, does that make you a monster?" "No, we're still considered people. We just have an agreement not to appear in the human world. But once we take human form, we can get an official human identity." "So you have an ID and a social security number?" "I do." I let out a silent sigh of relief. "Good. So, when you're human, do you earn money like other people?" Cole shook his head, looking puzzled. "I don't need to earn money. I own several thousand acres of land. Your human cities have expanded so much over the years, they bought my land and gave me a lot of money for it." I was stunned. Cole was land rich from a government buyout? I don't even know how to spend it. "It's all yours, honey. The pin is your birthday." As he spoke, he pulled out a stack of bank cards from somewhere and stuffed them into my hand. I refused. "I can't take this." "No, you have to. If I take it, I'll really be your wife." Cole's wolf ears drooped. "Sarah, you don't want to be my wife?" I answered with a question. "Do you want me to be?" "Of course. I love you, I want to protect you forever, and I want to give you the best of everything." "Then let's do it." He paused, seeming to get the wrong idea, and mumbled, "I don't believe in, before marriage. It wouldn't be respectful to you." Was he a horny wolf or a prude? I leaned into his arms, gave his wolf tail a little pinch, and whispered softly, "I meant being your wife." "I agree." "Huh? You agree?" "Woo." Cole scooped me up in excitement. Then I added, "The other doing it is okay too." This time, Cole forgot all about being excited. He just carried me and rushed into the bedroom. The door slammed shut, blocking the view of the comments. "Hey, wait, I've been waiting for this meal for so long and you're not going to let me watch?" "Geneva. Open the door. Open up, you too. Don't just cook in there, I want to see the process."